Hi, how are you? Uh, I think you're muted, Brandon.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go. Can you hear me?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks. This is my daughter, Ellie. She's just joining us for the start of the meeting.
Hi, Allie. How's it going?
Good.
Good. Where are you?
We're in Australia, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where are you, Leslie?
I'm currently in New Zealand on the North Island, but I'm heading back home to Canada today.
Oh, today. Wow. Fantastic. I think I
Yeah,
remember that in your email. Which part
yeah.
of Canada you're from originally?
I'm near Ottawa.
Oh, okay. I was born in
Yeah.
Ottawa.
Oh, yeah, no way.
Yeah, and grew up till I was like 8 in Canada.
Oh, cool. I'm
Yeah.
actually in Carleton Place.
Oh, okay, yeah. Is that near?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a long time ago. I've been back to Ottawa a couple times, but I'm not that familiar, as an adult with it. But my mom used to go to Carleton University, and we used to go to the swim there and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, Carleton Place is just south of Canada.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love Ottawa.
Yeah, it's beautiful, eh?
Cold in the winter though.
A little bit.
Yeah, just a
Yeah, a
little
little
bit.
bit.
Yeah, our winter here in where we are in Queensland gets down to, the daytimes are like 20, 22, and the nights are
Oh,
like
wow.
10, so it's like, and people think it's cold once it's 15 here. It's like everybody's complaining
Yeah.
how cold it is. Yeah.
Wow.
Hi,
Yeah.
Tracy. I'll just,
Hi.
hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. My
Good.
daughter's just joining us for the first few minutes of the meeting.
Oh, hello.
This is Ellie.
Hi, Ellie.
Say hi. Yeah, she's waving. Yeah. And where are you based, Tracy?
I'm in Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's not as nice as what it looks like it is there right now.
Yeah, well, this is our sort of autumn, and it's probably 25 already. So, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning. So it's we kind of
Nice.
look forward to the cooler days. Actually, I'm just going to try and move so I'm not the sun's not in my eyes. Actually. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, no, I was just saying how the winters here, the daytime's sort of like 25, and then the nights are, maybe 10. You get a cold night and it's 5 or something like that, and everybody's
Wow.
complaining when it's 15 how cold it is.
Wow. We should come do a training there.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Art.
Hey, Brandon. Hey, Ellie. How you doing?
Good. Art's our teacher. He's actually from Ottawa as well, Leslie. So we got a Canadian collection here today.
Yeah, nice.
There we go.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And are you over in the UK or?
No, Brian's in
Hobart.
Tassie, aren't you?
Oh,
Yeah.
Tasmania.
Yep.
Oh, fantastic. Welcome to our meeting.
Thank you.
Hi, Dana.
Hi.
How
Hi,
are you?
everyone.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
Where are you based, Dana?
In the Cayman Islands.
Oh, beautiful. I've always wanted to go there, actually. Is it as nice as what people make out?
Yeah, if you don't mind small.
Yeah.
Hot.
Oh, good. Well, welcome to our meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Renee. Renee's in South Africa. Hi, Katrina. And hi, Carrie.
Hi,
Hi. Where are you based, Carrie?
Comet in Queensland.
Oh, you're close to us then.
Yeah, very.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Well, welcome to the meeting.
Thank you.
So I thought I'd start by just seeing if anybody's got any particular questions that they'd like me to answer. So, Leslie, have you got any questions? Or can you tell us a little bit about your practice and how you're going with the course and everything?
Yeah, Brendan, I don't have any questions right now. I'm just curious about the training. I was looking, kind of just trying to find something with massage, and I stumbled upon your website just with some Google researching, and just was very curious just because I'm interested in sort of a blend. I never knew what to choose between shiatsu or Thai or
Fantastic.
deep tissue, what have you. So yeah, just really
Oh.
curious about it all.
Okay, great. Well, I'm sure we'll have lots of interesting questions here. I think, Katrina, you just mentioned you had a question. Is that right?
Yes. Sorry, I've got a bit of laryngitis.
Oh,
so
no, I'm
you're
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, gonna have to put up with my voice.
Okay, not a problem.
All right, sorry, and I've got a bit of bad hair too, so
Yeah, I get those days sometimes.
yeah. Okay, so on Thursday, I have been in contact with Art about this, but I thought I'd pop on the Zoom meeting and have a chat with you too. So on Thursday, I had a client and did a Raynor massage. I did the training about 12 months ago, and I started my practice around August last year. So I've been doing an average of probably 8 to 10 massages a week.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I've been really, I'm getting a lot of word of mouth referrals. I'm getting a lot of return clients. So
Fantastic.
I'm really happy with it. People are loving the Raynor massage. And obviously, each one of us makes it our own. So,
yes, that's right.
Yeah,
of course, it's an art form. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so most of my clients are women, and I really treat them and they love it. So anyway, on Thursday, I had a lady that I haven't had before. I had met her several times in a social setting, and we had quite a good connection. Anyway, she is a very short lady. She's got a gammy shoulder, so I couldn't really lift up her arm at all. That was fine. Anyway, towards the end of the massage, I got onto the abdominal work, and she was completely fine about doing that. So then I'd done the, pressing in and the sort of the shaking, and I got up to just below the ribs on the left side, around the spleen area.
Yeah.
And I was doing what I normally do, which, I've never had any issues with. And, except for clients learning how to surrender, but that's all good. They do learn how to do that. Anyway, this time I heard a pop, like a crack or a pop. And she said, I said, "Oh, are you okay?" And she said, "Oh, that felt weird." And but just before that happened, I'd noticed in her, I think it was the upper little toe band, that there was some blockages in that band. And I did have a quick chat to her during the massage and just said, because I felt it was all to do with her spleen and her kidneys. And she did actually say she's got a family history of high blood pressure. She's in her 50s and she's on very high medication for her blood pressure, even though she's a very healthy person otherwise. She looks after herself. Anyway, so this sort of pop happened, and I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Oh, that was weird. That felt really weird." Anyway, so I felt around the area, got her to breathe deeply. She could still breathe deeply, couldn't see any bruising, compared both sides for the ribs and everything. That all seemed okay. There was a bit of tenderness, but and so we ended up continuing. The massage obviously stayed away from that area. And the massage was nearly over. I got her to do a big relax at the end and covered her and just let her integrate. Got her up, and then I said, "How are you?" And she said, "Oh, I don't feel very well. That I feel a bit strange now, and it feels very tender." So I had a look. There was no bruising. I got her to stretch, breathe. She had no issues on breathing, no issues on stretching, but she just said it felt tender. Anyway, in the next 24 to 48 hours, I've been in touch with her. She has remarked that she's felt a bit off. She had a big bath. She said she feels like there's no external bruising. She can't see any, but it feels like there's internal bruising, and she's just felt a bit off. But says she's starting to feel a bit better. She's not having any trouble with breathing or anything, but just feeling not the best. So I'm just wondering if you can speak to that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously, I don't know exactly where you were working, but my immediate thought was that it could be the large intestine. Because the large intestine also runs up underneath the rib cage there in that spleen area. And because I can't imagine what like when you say a popping sound, obviously you weren't on the ribs or anything like that. It wasn't like anything.
No.
It must be something. To me, the only popping sound that's likely is the release of an air pocket. Or something like that. That could make a popping sound. Because sometimes with the bowel, you have what's called diverticuli in the bowel, which are like folds that go like that. Yeah. And that's where people get like diverticulitis and things like that. And they can also, get bowel cancer. Certain fecal matter stays in there too long. So, and it is very close to that area across the, what they call the transverse colon going across the top there.
It would have been on because I'm a registered nurse as well. So it would have been, on the junction when the bowel starts going down again.
Okay, well, that's an area where, problems can develop, especially as the bowel comes up and across, and then also as it goes down. So, I can't tell for sure, obviously, because I wasn't there and I don't know, and, there's no x-rays or anything like that. But that's just my immediate thought on when you said a popping sound in that area would be something, but I can't tell for sure, obviously. But did she comment on extra bowel movements or anything like that? I mean, some people do, some people don't. Tell us about that. But sometimes, I mean, massaging the abdomen can really, some people can be constipated and not, go for weeks or a week or something, and then all of a sudden you massage it and they have this great story to tell you all about their bowel movements. But yeah, they're always the fun ones. It's like, Brandon, I got something to tell you. I'm like, oh, okay, go ahead, But anyway, I don't know for sure, because it sounds like it was a sudden thing. It wasn't like, you would think like if you were, going to bruise her, it would be that you did some fast jabbing movement where she wasn't, whereas if you're going in slow and steady, and working with her breath, that doesn't sound to me like something that would cause bruising, because when you bruise somebody, like if you're going in slow and steady and working with their breath and their awareness, then it's unlikely that you're going to go so hard that it's going to, hurt them in that way. And also to make the popping sound itself is a little bit, yeah, it makes me think that what's going to make that popping sound? That's not going to be something bruising a tissue that's going to make a popping sound. It's going to be possibly an air blockage, you know, like when
Because
little
it
babies.
felt-
What's that?
It felt to me, hang on.
Yeah.
It felt to me like it was almost like I got this impression it was like this round thing that broke open. That's how it sounded and how it felt, about that sort of big, like a walnut size. And
Well, that
it
could be
felt
something
like
in
it
her.
just cracked.
Well, that's why I think it's more likely to be something like stuck in her bowel.
Right.
You know, rather than the spleen, because I wouldn't think that something like that would be in the spleen. And you as a nurse would probably know. I mean, the spleen's more about like producing blood cells and things like that, right?
Yeah.
It's not likely to hold something unless it was like a tumor or something like that. You know, which is not then your fault, because the tumor was certainly there before. And even, you know, I mean, it sounds like obviously there was some sort of imbalance or blockage or something, but to me, the likelihood, the higher likelihood would be something in the bowel. And then, you know, the second likelihood would possibly be a tumor or something if she was sore after touching it. But I don't know if that would make a popping sound or not. But it, you know, it might be something that, if it's not something that was released in, you know, because it could just be something stuck in the diverticuli of her bowels, right? And then you moved it, you know, and that made and with air, because that's what happens too, you know, with babies and things, when they get like wind trapped in their bellies, it really hurts them actually. And you got to massage. If you massage their bowel, they'll do a big fart, and then out it comes, you know, out the air comes. So air can be painful and trapped in the diverticula or in the intestines, and so that's what it sounds like to me. But obviously, I can't be sure, because there could be that.
Of course.
You know, like it could be. I mean, if it was I can only think that it would be. Then the kind of worst case scenario is that there was some sort of tumor. Which, if that was the case, then you'd want to kind of seek medical, you know, advice. And I'm not sure how they detect it. Is it an MRI or something? How would they go about detecting?
CAT scans, MRIs.
So, you know, like if she's concerned, like I don't feel like it's something you've done as such. You might have brought awareness to something there that's already there, right? And so, which is actually kind of a good thing, because if it is a tumor, then the sooner she knows about it, the better, in my opinion. Wouldn't you say so, you know?
Absolutely. So I did actually text Art. Well, I emailed him, and because I've had laryngitis for the last 2 days, haven't been able to talk. However, he did text me back, and he said he suggested it could have also been like an energy blockage that I release, because he said he's had this happen where he's heard cracks and pops. And,
because I wasn't speaking to you. I didn't have the full kind of thing of what you're doing. But recently, even just in like muscles and connective tissue, I find if I've done the real detailed work through the toes, then sometimes getting up through the bigger muscles, there can be quite a pop, like a shock, but then it'll dissipate, you know. Whereas if I tried to go into that big muscle then, and I was forcing it, that would bruise it. But sometimes it really feels like it's a shock to the client. But I've had it enough where it's like, it just feels like that energy just dispersed, and then it's a huge relief too. But
I didn't say, I didn't realize you were on the call.
No, it's nice to have him here. Art is definitely one of our more experienced teachers too. You know, and I was observing his work in our advanced course recently in Sydney, and he's an excellent teacher. So, you know, like it could be any of those things, obviously. If and sometimes energetic imbalances underlie physical problems as well. Where there's an energetic imbalance, there's likely to develop dis-ease, some form of problem like that. So I would say that the worst case scenario would be some sort of tumor. But to me, the most likely is like Art says, either an energetic blockage or an air blockage, or like I say, it could be something physical that was like a hard fecal matter that was trapped in the diverticuli of her bowels, which would be a bit sore. But again, much better off getting rid of that because, bowel cancer comes from trapped fecal matter. Like people that are on like high meat diets and things like that are much more likely to get bowel cancer because they haven't the undigested food will sit in those diverticuli and then it just gradually putrefies and then causes that. So I would just keep in touch with her, and if it doesn't just clear up by itself, then I would suggest she would get an MRI or a CAT scan of the area just to find out if that worst case scenario is happening with a tumor, and but again, that's not your fault. That's just you've touched something that was there, and I think it's actually better that she knows about it sooner rather than later, because with any of these kinds of tumors and that, the quicker they're treated, the better, and the better the outcome, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Hope that answers the
Thank
question. But let me know.
Yeah.
Shoot me an email or whatever. I'll be interested to know what happens and what actually,
Absolutely. Yes.
Great.
She's open to keep having conversation about it. So
Oh, good. That's the main thing. As I say, I don't think it's it's not like, oh, your fault, you did something wrong. It's that there was something wrong there and you accessed it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that to me is going to be for the better, bringing awareness to where there's a problem, whether what you did got rid of it, or you just brought awareness to the fact that there is something even more serious wrong there.
Sure.
Yeah. So, And
Thank you.
everything else is going quite well with all your clients and everything?
Yeah. Amazing. I'm having some really, really beautiful results, and people are, really good. I'm so happy.
Oh, fantastic. And you did the course with Art like about 12 months ago in the Blue Mountains, did you?
I did.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that was awesome. I will get to do the advanced training at some stage. It's just fitting it all in.
Yeah, no, I understand. I got a bit of a busy schedule myself, so I totally understand.
Yeah.
Great. And Brian, now how are you going? You did the course with Art as well, is that right?
No, I was hoping to, but that hasn't happened yet. And so I'm now looking at doing the online course.
Fantastic.
And then from there doing the advanced one, I guess that's with you in Gympie. We've got one. We haven't got an advanced one scheduled yet. We've got the certificate and diploma course, the practical aspect. Both Art and I are going to be teaching that in Gympie, probably in October, but there may be some delays with that course. Just because of my wife's mother's actually got ovarian cancer over in the US. So we're sort of heading over there to spend some time with her. If it looks like her condition is going to deteriorate, we'll probably end up being over there a bit longer. But I'll keep you informed about that. But I would get stuck into the online course and then get practicing on as many people as possible. And then, come to, well, probably even if I'm not there, Art will probably be teaching that course anyway. And then
I'll be back. I'll be back in Australia then. And if it's, I'm happy to keep that schedule and commit to that, doing that course up there.
Great. Thanks, Art.
Yeah, sorry it hasn't worked out. Like I don't know where everyone is right now, but I know Brian, I was suggesting to put out a little chat group just for interest in Tasmania. So in the future, when I can manage to travel and teach down there again, we can do that. But for now, probably for the next year or two, that we'd be, coming up to Gympie or maybe New South Wales if I do another course here.
I mean, I do have the benefit of the friend who recommended you
great.
is someone local.
Yeah.
And I just saw her actually on Friday, of like, you know, having her there to like practice with and get feedback
that's
from.
Oh, that's so important.
Nancy, right?
Nancy, yes.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So like that sort of makes, I mean, I feel quite confident about doing the online training because of that, you know. And I know a couple of other massage therapists, so
Great.
Yeah.
Tracy, just to answer your question, I believe so. I think Katrina, not you, Katrina, but another Katrina, is teaching that course, and then I'm going to be teaching an advanced course in 100 Mile House. Well,
Yeah,
let me just check that. I don't know. I haven't got those dates there in front of me. But I thought it was happening before I was teaching the 100 Mile House, so I'm not sure. Is it June or May? But anyway,
there is a certification and diploma in 100 Mile at the beginning of May, and then you are teaching an advanced course at the beginning of June, and then I thought that there was a certification and diploma courses kind of June. I think they start June 12, but suddenly I can't find them online anymore.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to have a look. I can give you Katrina's direct email if you like.
I have it. I have it.
Oh, you have it, yeah.
I did send her an email, but I haven't heard back yet.
She often takes a day or two even to get back to me, so don't worry about that.
Yeah.
She's got a busy ranch and she's studying herbal medicine and 3 kids and everything like that. So hopefully, maybe just send her a quick reminder in case she hasn't got that or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I will. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry about that. I'm not sure exactly what her schedule there is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Tracy, have you done our online course? Are you just starting? Your interest is just starting at the moment?
I'm just starting it.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah. So I was thinking of doing the course in 100 Mile, but then when I got the online course, I thought, oh, I need a little bit longer to do this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
The main thing is practice, you know, because like everything I teach there in the online course are, you know, techniques and how to apply it. But the real world experience is the fact that everyone's different, you know. So when it's the art form of making what I'm teaching suit a new particular individual, you know, that you're working on. And that's always new for everybody because, you know, there's, you know, whatever, 8 billion people on the planet. So it's always different, both physically and psychologically, you know, so that's just where experience, you just, you know, you can't take the place of experience, just getting your hands on people and massaging as many people as possible. And seeing what these techniques actually do for people, you know, because they're going to do completely different things depending upon why people are tight, how tight people are. And that's the sort of, you know, I still see new things that I've never seen before on an emotional level or on a, you know, what comes out of people, you know. And that's something, so I can teach you how to get rid of tension, but whatever it is that causes that tension, when people release that's like, again, new, you know, depending upon the person, you know. So that's the main thing, just get your hands on as many people as possible, and always, you know, don't think about perfection, but just think, I'm going to do the best I can with each person, you know, because we're all imperfect beings. And you know, we just got to go, how can I help this person? And always the first treatment is what I call the hi, how you going, nice to meet you treatment. And it's what I call toing and froing, and you're figuring out, who is this person? How can I help them? How can I work with them? How can I build the bridge of trust? How can I get it where the person can, you know, breathe and work with me? And do they even want this kind of massage, or are they what we call a red light? You know, do they just want somebody to not really bring up any of their issues that they're holding on that are causing them tension? Do they just want something superficial, you know? So all these kinds of things, you know, they're dealt with on that first treatment. So it's never a case of just going, I'm gonna do this to this person, you know. It's like the partnership model of medicine, you know. So we're gonna work together to get rid of this person's tension is always the way we should look at it, you know. If they want it, and that's always that question, if they want to get rid of their tension, you know. So and that's the thing, and so just by working on, you know, your first 10 people are going to give you 10 different experiences, you know? It was like, wow, it was so easy working on Joe. They really wanted to get better really well. But when I was working on Mary, she was like, wow, she had this going on and that going on. And then Sue was like, wow, I touched her and she started to cry, you know? And then, you know, and all these kinds, and then your first 100 massages, you got like 100 people to draw from. And it was like, wow, that was a full on one. Gee, what came out, you know, what came out of that person? Or this person was just no emotion came out, nothing. It was just purely physical, you know? And then you know, so you just, once you know, learn what you're doing, it's just get in there and massage as many people as you can. And you're going to learn that way. And then, like I say, I can impart my years of experience through the online course, but also through my YouTube channel. Once you've done the online course, it'll make a lot more sense. Some of the videos that I'm, you know, working with people on, and you'll see what I'm doing and then how people react. But in the end, it's like, you know, you're going to be working on the, you know, new people that, you know, that I've never massaged before, you know, and that's the thing. And always just have that attitude to just do the best you can and realize that it's a partnership model of medicine. And, you know, not getting like some people get their ego caught up in themselves as a healer instead of realizing you can only help. First of all, you can only help people that want to be helped. And second of all, you know, you to the degree that they want to be helped and to the degree of your proficiency and experience and abilities, you know?
Yeah.
So I always say, don't be harsh on yourself. Just get your hands on there. And you learn from your mistakes. You know, there's so many times, you know, because I've been massaging since like 1991, so 32 years now. And there's so many times after a massage, I thought, you know, I should have done this. I should have done that, you know? And so that's why I say that first treatment, you often, especially on the first treatment, you're sort of doing what you think might be needed, but you've never actually massaged this particular person before. So you can, that's why I say the toing and froing. It's like, oh, maybe I went a little bit hard. Maybe I didn't go hard enough. Maybe I, you know, thought this person was like this person, but actually they're not quite the same, you know? So, you know, but don't be scared. Just get in there. And like I say, if you have that attitude of doing the best you can, rather than doing anything perfect, or even rather than following a whole bunch of techniques, you know, like even what I've taught you there, you're not going to use every technique in every massage. You might not use a lot of them in a massage, you know, you've got to, I always say the techniques are like tools in the tool bag, but when you're the artist or the carpenter or whatever, you got to pick which tools you want to use at a particular time. Otherwise it's just like assembly line massage. And that's not fair to everybody because nobody fits the mold, you know, we're all different, you know? So I think that's the most important thing to do is just get your hands on people. You can, you know, most of the time, you know, it's great to start with a head massage just to calm people down and get people deep breathing, and then figure out where they're tight but work with them. Always be having that attitude of working in the partnership model of medicine and tuning into the person and how's my pressure, you know, so you can verbal communication and nonverbal communication. And then just having that attitude. Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not, you know, I always say most people need, when we're looking at what we call excavation massage, most people need 10 to 40 hours if they're like under 50, under 55 even, you know, but you get people in there elderly, more elderly than that. And it could be that they need, you know, 50 to 100 hours of work or more in there, you know, it depends on how much they can handle, how tight they are. So somebody's had like 70 years, never had a massage, and they've had a lot of stress and tension in their life. You know, their feet and hands could be super tight. You know, it could take months, you know, of work, but it's going to be the best investment they've ever made because they're going to extend their lifespan and the quality of their life enormously. But don't be hard on yourself that, you know, oh, I couldn't get all that tension out, you know. Don't be thinking of what I call one treatment wonders, because that puts unnecessary pressure on yourself. It makes you maybe work too hard, too fast, not working with the rhythm and flow of the person, you know, deep breathing and letting go. So patience, I always say two of the qualities that make a good massage therapist are patience and perseverance. So it's like, you got to be patient, but keep going, you know, until you got to that point. If they're open for it, keep going until that point where they're tension free. If that takes you 10 hours, that's great. That'd be pretty good for most people. But if it takes you 40, 50, you know, you could do 4 hours a week for 10 weeks and, you know, that person's completely transformed with 40 hours maybe, you know, so, but don't think of it as a one treatment wonder. That's my main thing. And just get in there and do the best you can. And each time you might be thinking, so many times after massage, I'm thinking, oh, you know what? I should have done this. I should have done that. And it might have been a technique, or it might have been just, you know, my way of relating to the person, you know, maybe that person was very serious and maybe I was too jovial. I made a couple stupid jokes or something and I shouldn't have, you know, or maybe the person liked jokes and it helped them to relax and I was too serious, you know, so it could be just my way of relating to that person. You know, and especially when we're doing sort of, you know, say cross-cultural massages, you know, if I'm working on somebody from another culture, it might be quite different. You know, in Australia, people tend to make jokes a lot, you know, so whereas maybe in other cultures very serious, you know, and you have to, you know, sometimes you can put people off if you're too joking and they're serious and, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm not just talking about techniques. I'm talking about building the bridge of trust, building that bridge where that person can just go, I can just relax, you know, in this person's hand. I don't need to worry, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the key thing, you know. I think that's what the art form is about, you know, to making it into an art form, and it's always make the massage suit the person, not the person suit the massage. So we look at each person as a I call it life sculpting. It's like, okay, they've got their real self, you know, which is like the real person underneath it, and then they got the tension that covers them, you know, and our job is to get that tension out if they want it to come out. Our job is to work together to get that tension out if they want to experience that incredible transformation that getting rid of that tension will have in their life, you know.
Yeah.
But not everybody wants it, so that's why there's quite a few of the art forms, not just the techniques, and that's what I like to emphasize with people. It's you know, it's a art form becoming a therapist, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, I've
Great.
been trying to get through like the beginning. Like I'm dying to get my hands on somebody, but
Yep.
but I still have to get through the first parts of the online.
Yeah, that's right. There's all the
Of course.
theory, the professionalism, and the hygiene, and the contraindications.
Right,
and
right, yeah.
That's the hardest stuff. That's the most, you know, kind of boring. It's almost there for your reference, really. Just to make sure that in case somebody has something, you know, that you know, okay, hey, even if you forget and you go, oh, I think that is a contraindication, you can always go back to your course notes and go, oh yeah, this is the contraindication, you know.
Yeah.
So, but once you get through that, it's more fun. It's more interesting.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I wanted to put that on the online course, so I didn't have to keep talking always about hygiene and people, you know, because I taught courses for a long time before we instituted this online course, and I felt like I was pushing the tape recorder button when I was talking about hygiene and professionalism and contraindications, you know. So yeah, somebody else can just push the play button and hear me talk about it. But anyway, yeah, get through that, and then it becomes more interesting.
Yeah, great, thanks.
Yeah, Renee, how are you going?
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Sorry, I got late because I was having difficulties to connect.
Oh no, that's okay. There's always technical difficulties, and I'm only just getting the hang of Zoom myself. You know, before the pandemic, I really didn't use Zoom much. So no, and it takes a little while. Once you've done it a few times, it becomes a lot easier.
Yes, I'm happy to be in. And I've got so many questions.
Okay, great. Go for it. That makes it interesting.
But let me just introduce myself to other people.
Yeah.
Yes, my name is Raynor from Lesotho. If you don't know where Lesotho is in the southern part of Africa, and it's landlocked by South Africa. It's a very small country with a population of plus or minus 2 million.
Oh, yeah. I thought sorry, I said you were from South Africa. That was my mistake. My apology.
Oh, you have been to South Africa?
Yeah, I've been there. I haven't been to Lesotho, but I lived in Malawi for 2 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, but at least you have an idea where Lesotho is.
Yeah, Masuru, and yeah. No, I'd love to go there one day.
Okay. Yeah, it's a lovely country. Yes,
definitely.
Yes, Brendan. I've watched you working on a person.
Sorry, you watched what?
Your videos.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you are working on a client. And this person, when she or he screams,
yeah,
how do you differentiate whether it's a bad pain or it's just emotions coming out?
Well, you know, you want to establish something at the start, basically saying, hey, look, if you know, through your verbal communication, a 10 is where a person can't breathe into something, right? And it's too much. Okay, so if somebody says, oh, that's a 10, that's that kind of borderline between it being too much. So you want to establish that communication before the massage begins, in a sense, so that because you never wanting to make it where the person's screaming in pain, right? Although people can scream to release the pain, but it should be established that you're not hurting the person. You're actually accessing their tension and getting rid of it. So part of that's going to be nonverbal, where you're just empathetically tuning into that person and realizing that. And part of it's going to be just verbal, so that you can tell them, look, if it's too much, you tell me, here's your safe word, you know, where it's too much, you know, if you're not used to that kind of thing. But otherwise, you just tell people, look, if when I'm massaging you, it brings up emotions, please just let them out. You know, don't feel scared, don't feel like embarrassed. You know, so you want to encourage the person to feel safe, to let go of whatever's causing the tension, you know, because oftentimes it is emotional that causes tension, or emotions that cause, you know, repressed emotions. If you're looking, were you looking at the one where I was working on Lily in the Sydney course? Was that the one recently where she had a lot of releasing going on?
Yes.
There's a lot. Anyway, there's a lot on my channel, right, where people have emotional releases. I always just make sure that we've built a bridge of trust beforehand, so that people understand, hey, I'm here to help, but you're safe to let go of those emotions, even if they're strong, even if there's a lot of anger, even if there's a lot of sadness. You know, just feel safe. You're in a safe environment, you know. So that you should always establish that communication to start with, and you should build up the bridge of trust before that's happening, and making sure, hey, you know, would you like me to continue? Is that too much? And they might go, yeah, no, I'm just letting go. If, you know, while you're building up that bridge of trust, but eventually you should know, you should just eventually kind of be intuitively tuned into that person to know that, you know, it's good, you know, it's okay, you know, but because you never want to be working on a person where they're, you know, well, things like too, if a person's saying, oh, that's too much, then that means that you're going too hard. All right, like, because everybody's 10 is their own 10, right? Like, you might be working on a person very gently, but it feels quite intense for them. And that might be not what they're ready for on that day, you know. So we're never pushing people. We're working with people to release these emotions that are causing tension. We're not pushing them, you know. And that's really about establishing the nature of the relationship that you've established with that person, whether that bridge of trust is there, whether that communication is open, so that you then automatically know. But also, with sensitivity, you know, as you develop as a therapist, you should become more sensitive to people, and you start to just intuitively know that, yeah, this is good. You know, sometimes people will even, it might not be their first treatment where they release emotions. You know, with Lily in particular, she's had quite a few, you know, treatments, or the first treatment, she started to realize what this could do in releasing emotions, and then she got more excited about more emotions coming out because she knew she had a lot stored in there. So that was sort of established between her and I. But you know, people sometimes might not realize that they've got emotions that are stored in them causing tension, and then they just start to come up, especially with assisted belly breathing and that sort of thing. So yeah, you know, you just got to establish that bridge of trust with people, and then work with them, you know. So we're never working on a person, we're working with a person, and making sure that they realize that they are not those emotions, and that they're letting them go. You know, I'm not my anger, I am not my sadness. That is affecting me and it's stifling me, but it's not me. And so, you know, once a person realizes that, then they can kind of let that emotion go, even if it's strong, even if it's a rage. You know, some people have rage inside of them. They've, you know, as long as they don't direct it at the therapist too. That's a really key thing when we're letting go of these emotions, especially anger and rage. You know, as a therapist, we don't want people's rage directed at us. So I always say to people, if you need to scream, scream away from me. Don't scream at me, you know, and don't project onto me. If something happened to you as a child or something of that nature, don't project it onto me, because it wasn't me that did it. I'm here to help you. Not, I don't want to be your punching bag. I don't want to be your kind of like a energetic kind of, you know, sounding wall or whatever it may be. So establish that before the treatment begins. If there is, you know, you can even look on a case history form when people fill it out, like people circle different things. They circle different emotions, you know, so you can then talk to them about, you know, how massage can help, Raynor massage can help release those emotions and what to do if they come up, you know, so especially with rage or anger, that sort of thing. They're, you know, I've had it where people start throwing that energy at me, and it's absolutely, it's horrible. It's, you know, it's like, we don't want to be absorbing that, you know, so I'm careful. I've had anger in my life and rage, and I'm careful when I let that go, not to direct it at the therapist. You know, it's just, it's polite in my opinion. So it's a question of understanding. First of all, the person has to understand they're not the emotions that are trapped inside them, and they'd be better off without them. And then how to let those go in a safe manner without directing it at the person. And then after that, that energy could be trapped in the room, in which case we need to clean it out through airflow, if you're doing massage inside, and plants and things like that. Even having some candles going, fire can clean that up. Smudge sticks, incense, aromatherapy, I use essential oils of lemon myrtle in particular, but that's an Australian plant. I'm sure there's some good ones in Africa that you can then spray in the air to clean it. You know, we use like eucalyptus and lemon myrtle in Australia here to help cleanse the atmosphere, because it's like, otherwise it feels like kind of energetically dirty, you know?
I should know that. Okay.
Yeah.
It's because up to so far, I only managed to practice on 2 relatives of mine.
Yeah.
And they were complaining it's painful. So I thought, maybe I'm not doing it right. So that's why.
So the thing is, what we need to understand and we need to teach people is about what we call good and bad pain. So tension, when you access somebody, when you touch somebody who's very tight, it's going to be painful. But when we release tension, we're accessing it, and they should be breathing into it and letting it go. And that's then what we call good pain. So good pain is where we find that tension, they breathe into it and they let it go. And whereas bad pain is especially when a person's not deep breathing and they're just tightening up against you, or you're, you know, hurting them in some way or another. But deep massage will hurt if the person's tight. So what I always say to people when I'm working on them is I give them what I'm giving them, like what I call a guided tour, and feeling around the different bands and where they're tight. And I'll go, oh, that's really tight. And at the same time, they might go, oh, that's a little bit sore. But what they're realizing when I'm saying that's tight is the reason why it's sore is because it's tight, not because I'm touching them, right? So that's what the first thing is in terms of educating, you know, when you're taking new people and you're encouraging them to change from, say, a red light or a yellow light to what we call a green light, which is a green light is somebody who goes, I recognize I have tension and I want to get rid of it. Thank you very much for finding it, and I'm going to work with you and I'm going to deep breathe, okay? A yellow light is somebody who's like, I don't really know what you're doing and what you know, I'm not opposed to it, but I don't really know what you're doing, and so, you know, they're cautious, right? Like a yellow light in a traffic thing. It's like, be careful, but it's not a red light. Whereas a red light is somebody who's, I don't want you to work on me because I don't want to, even if it is even if they recognize that it's my tension that's causing the pain, maybe some people, they don't want to even look at the reasons why they've got that tension, you know, so they might have emotional issues that have caused that tension, but they don't want to look at it and don't want to get better. You know, sometimes maybe it's too painful for them. You know, sometimes people have had been abused as children or something, and they just shove that pain underneath and they think that's the way to deal with it. And maybe they take some painkillers. or drugs to get rid of anxiety or depression. And that's what, you know, even so that's the legal way to do it. But other people, they take heroin or they take morphine or they drink alcohol to deal with the emotional pain. And so some people, they don't want to, they're used to dealing with it in that way. And when you go, no, we're going to bring awareness to it, and you breathe into it, they go, oh, no, I don't want to do that. Because yeah, when you have these emotions trapped in you and this emotional pain, the first thing is bringing awareness to it, and then then the next thing is breathing it out and letting it go. So a lot of pain inside of people is caused by emotional stress. And if they're not willing to let it go, then that's what we call a red light. And so then it's like, okay, what can you do? The only type of massage you could do is one that doesn't really move any of the tension. It's superficial and just very light, and maybe it feels good, and maybe that's what they want. And there might be some minor benefit to that, but it's certainly not what we call excavation massage. So the important thing is to educate people about why is it possibly painful, and the benefits of getting it's because of the tension. And then yet, will they be better off without that tension? Absolutely. But is it something you can force on them? Absolutely not. They must make that decision themselves and go, yes, I am tight, and yes, I want to get rid of it. Your job is to educate them and to help so that they can make an informed decision. But it's not your job to make that decision. It's their job to make that decision. And some people are, like I say, a red light. To me, a red light, it's kind of a crazy situation to be a red light, but it's people's freedom, you know? But is it going to be a very beneficial working relationship? No, not really. It's not. You working on them, and it can be one of the more dangerous working relationships, because if, say, for example, a person has a lot of anger inside of them and they don't recognize that or own that, and you access that anger, then guess what? They're going to project it at you. Oh, you made me angry, when in fact you didn't. You just accessed their anger. So there's potential, or you made me cry. No, I brought awareness to your sadness. But working with a red light is dangerous because of the fact that they're going to, or they can project these emotions and say you're the cause of it. Okay, so that's what you got to be a little bit careful with. And I'm not saying I don't know your relatives and I don't know what the situation is, but you know, that certainly it's either a yellow light or a red light until they're informed that why are they tight. And then yellow lights can either go one way or the other. Sometimes they could stay as a yellow light, or they could go to a green light. And the way they're going to go through a green light is through you educating them, and then having a bit of an experience where, oh, wow, I do feel better. Yeah, it hurt, but gee, I feel a bit better after that, you know? Oh, then you build the bridge of trust, and they get, you know, they go, okay, yeah, it hurt, but gee, I felt so much better. It got rid of my chronic headaches, or it did this or it did that, right? Or they're going to go to a red light where they just block down, they shut down because maybe they're scared of what you're going to access in them, or they don't trust you, or maybe you went too hard without tuning in empathetically to them, you know, and that's why I say it's an art form. You know, just working with that particular individual and doing the best you can, but never pushing them beyond what their 10 is, right? And explaining to them, always explain to them, why are you doing what you're doing, in the sense, you know, because we're not here to hurt people. Otherwise people think, oh, you're just a masochist. You're a person that likes to hurt people. And I never like that. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to help people. And how we're going to do that is bring awareness to where they're tight, get them to breathe into it, and get them to let go, and work in the partnership model of medicine. But you need to educate people about that. Talk to them. Well, hey, you're tight here. It's not just, oh, I'm hurting you. You're tight here. So I would say it just requires probably, first of all, you know, more verbal communication on your part to really inform them as to, first of all, what are you trying to do? What is the goal of Raynor massage? The goal of Raynor massage is to find and get rid of all chronic residual tension. And they go, oh, what's chronic residual tension? Well, here, you're tight here. You feel this. And they're like, oh, yeah, I feel that. Because really, if they weren't tight, it wouldn't hurt. When a person's completely loose, nothing hurts, you know, unless you're doing something, you know, hurting, like doing something that's not Raynor massage. But Raynor massage, when it applied to somebody who's not tight, doesn't hurt at all. It just feels nice. Because there's no resistance. The resistance is there because of the tension. You know, so it's just like, you know, I don't know, maybe if you got like a tire, the more pumped up the tire, the harder it is, right? Even though it's only air in there. Whereas if you have a soft tire and you push it, it gives, right? And that's the same. So that's the analogy, like even though we could look at whatever's causing tension as to be in the nature of like a gas or an air or something like that. When you compress air, it becomes hard. Yeah, and that's I think just educating people and then letting them, in the end, it's their decision, right? You can, what's the old saying? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So your job is just to lead them to the water and go, hey, this will help you if you drink it, but you can't like grab their head and force them to drink it, right?
Never.
So it's and especially with relatives and friends, that's something you just got to look out for, because even though you might think, oh, this is great, this will really help you, but if they don't make the decision themselves, then you can't force people. It'll never work. They'll just hate you for it or dislike you for it. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, Dana had a question. I don't know if she wants to ask it herself, but just about, you said you're getting numb hands after massaging and just like body maintenance. So part of what I'd say is like, obviously getting a lot of work on you is going to help your body recover better, strengthening your hands, which you get from doing this, as well as like using all the tools of like not using your hands, like overworking your thumbs when you don't need to. So really get good at using elbows and forearms and everything. And so you can really save these and tools. Yeah. But yeah. How long
was that in the?
I only have a chopstick now. I haven't got other tools. I only have a chopstick. That's the one I'm using.
Chopsticks are very good for this part of the finger, from the very tip to the first joint and even up to here. And then the Thai massage tools are very good for like this part of the hand or this part of the foot.
Okay.
So you can do self-maintenance. Yeah.
Sorry?
Definitely. Dana was just saying that she's getting some tight hands and sore feet. So I was saying she could do a lot of self-maintenance, like Art was saying there. Right, getting a chopstick and working the very tip and really spending that time. You'll also learn a lot about it and how it feels and getting correct pressure and things. So highly recommend, if you don't have anybody else to work on you, just to spend that time. And that will help with that numbness, You have to do self-maintenance in this kind of work because it is hard work on your hands. And even just like, I'm often just, when I'm sitting down, I'm often just moving my joints side to side, pulling my fingers. So I get the joint like that, and just, you can see that they're clicking, and I pull. So whenever I get a chance, I'm working on my own hands and, my thumbs and just, keeping them as loose as possible, and then massaging them myself and just doing whatever I can to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if you're lucky and have you got somebody close by, where are you based, Dana?
In the Cayman Islands.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so there's probably nobody else that does Raynor massage there that I know of. Hey.
No, there's massage, there's deep tissue, Swedish, that kind of stuff, but not Raynor, no.
No, they're not going to do the detail probably on your hands and feet, unless I mean, maybe if you got a good reflexologist, but they're more experienced with the feet than they are with the hands. But yeah, you might have to just really do it yourself until you can, get into one of our courses, or there's somebody else there you could send along and do our course, and they could work on you. Yeah, so that's what I'd recommend. Anything else, Art, that you can think of? I mean, there's things like putting your hands in Epsom water with Epsom salts. That can help a little bit as well. And maybe certain essential oils just to increase circulation.
Yeah.
I would definitely say the main thing there is going to be just doing a bit of self-massage on your hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's such a great way to, to learn, just for all of us, on your hands and your feet, to really, the more you can work with all the different tools and get to know what it feels like for you, you just have a better like empathy for what other people might be going through, and you can be really careful and detailed.
Absolutely. Because that was something that was brought up in that advanced course there in Sydney is that some people are overusing chopsticks and going too hard because maybe they don't understand what it feels like, because it's a very powerful tool. And if you go too hard, you're going above a person's 10, then people just don't like it. And but if you do it on yourself, you'll get to go, okay, this is too light, this is medium, this is too heavy. Well, you know, and you're not going to go too heavy on yourself, hopefully, you know. Although sometimes people can go too heavy on themselves in cases of numbness and things like that, where they don't have much feeling and they could overwork it. So you know, you do have to be careful if somebody doesn't have good nerve function in that particular area. But most of the time, it's just going to be fantastic for you to work on your own hands. But spend that time and do like one finger at a time and do a really good job of that finger until it's completely loose and you just feel no tension left in it. And then do the next one and then the next one. You know, and don't even have to do it all in one session. Because for me, when I'm loosening up somebody's tight hand, I'll often just do maybe a thumb and a finger in one session. And then that takes me a good hour and a half or something. And then follow the bands up on those two. I can't do the whole, unless the person's not very tight, then I can do their whole hand. But yeah, I mean, there's a great video of me working on a nurse in my last course up here in Gympie, or yeah, I think it was last one, where she had like a frozen shoulder and everything. And I was able in 1 2-hour session to completely get all of her fingers done and her arm. And we completely got rid of her frozen shoulder that she'd had for several years. So I think you'll see that one, Brandon, working on, I'll have to have a think about it. I forget, my memory on names is a bit rough. What's her name? I'll look it up in a second. Here, you guys, I'll just look it up on my phone quickly so that I give you the right one. I think it was such a good session that you'll see so much there. Brooke, yeah, that's right, Brooke. So it'll be BROOKE and Brandon fixing Brooke's shoulder, and you'll see so much about hand massage in that video and how important it was, because when you're fixing somebody's frozen shoulder, it's all going to come mostly from the hand. Could come from a little bit from the feet, but mostly it's going to come from the hand.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, if you have any problems looking that up, just shoot me an email or something like that, and I can find it for you. But yeah, you just do a search in YouTube for Brandon Raynor massage on Brooke. Yeah, and I think that'll be, you'll learn a lot from that. All right, great. Does anybody else have any questions then before we finish up, or? Sorry,
Yes,
I know people keep the meeting chat and then I'm not looking at it. Is there a chart that shows all the bands? Yep. We have charts. I got a whole lot of them printed there, Dana, as well. You can order them. If you go onto our...
I put the link to the shop. I don't know if that's current.
Should be.
Shows the posters. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can just, yeah, and I can mail them out to you. I do that a lot, mailing out charts.
I put the link to that video too, the Brooke video.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Thanks, Art. Yeah, I'm on my laptop and the meeting chat comes up as about 4 lines and the rest of it I can't see. So sorry, I get talking and I'm not looking at the chat very, if I was on my big computer, but now, did I miss anybody's questions that they put in the chat there? Or any other, Renee, did you have any other questions?
Yes, Brendan.
Yeah, go for it.
I always see you sort of throwing hands when you are working on a client.
Mm-hmm.
And you are saying it's energy probably picked up from the client. So how do you feel when you're picking it up?
Well, it feels kind of gross to me. It feels like instead of feeling clean, I feel sort of dirty. Like, and you could look at that on a subtle level, like having pollution in the air, even though it's more subtle. It's definitely, I feel dirty is how I would describe it when I'm, I always say I'm a glorified sewage worker. Basically, I'm basically, I'm separating the wheat from the chaff, as they say, but really it's gunk and it's dirt and some of it's quite disgusting, really, And I don't really want to pick it up because it's not doing that person any good, and it's not going to do me any good. So I'm very careful about what I call energetic hygiene. And that is to try and, as soon as I feel it come into me, I'll just try and get rid of it, so rather than it store in me. When some people, when they first start massaging, or even me, I would let it come to that point where then I'd just go after the massage. Oh, I'm glad you feel better, but I don't. And I feel like I've been contaminated, or with dirt basically, but not as on a physical level, but more energetic level. So then and then I have to have a good shower, and it takes a long time to clean it. But if I can flick as much of that off and not absorb that as possible, then I'm not going to, have to clean myself as much. I'm not going to have to get as many massages to clean out the energy I've picked up from people. And sometimes that's very strong because some people have a lot of, whatever we want to call it, bad energy or stress or whatever we want to call it, and it's not a judgment on that person because, certainly in stressful times in my life, I've had bad energy, and people are like, shit, I picked up a lot of stuff from you, Brandon. It's not a judgment on the person. I always say, it's like, that's not us. That's, we're not our bad energy. We have some sometimes, but we got to let that go. So my thing is I want to clean that person as well as I can, but not become contaminated. I don't want to be their sponge, by that energy. I want it to come out of them and then go out into the atmosphere. And my opinion, it's plants do a lot of that. They can absorb that, like plants absorb carbon dioxide and give off oxygen while we let out carbon dioxide. I also think, plants manage to convert a lot of that bad energy. So I like to, work in environments where there are some trees or some plants nearby that can help absorb that. But, if you get it outdoors, it'll be fine, but yeah, I don't recommend picking that up from people. Yeah. And some people have more of it than others. And like I said, it's not a judgment on that person because I've certainly been there myself. It's just, it is bad energy and it's not good because it's what's going to stifle them and it's not good for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. And any other questions, Renee?
No, I'm okay now.
Okay. Well, like I say, just keep practicing, get your hands on as many people as possible. And the main thing then, like I said, one of the things then is make sure you don't try not to pick up energy from people. But even after 30 years, it's about minimizing the energy I pick up. I can't absolutely not pick up energy when I massage people, unfortunately. I haven't got to that point where I'm completely, so I have to cleanse myself. I get a lot of massage myself and have a good soap and a good shower, basically. But realizing that this is the work we're doing, we're like I say, the best analogy is a glorified sewage worker. We get glorified because people are like, oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate what you did. And you're an amazing healer. But you're basically a sewage worker where you're picking up a lot of their crap. And you're like, yeah, thank you. It requires a lot of actual love and self-sacrifice actually to do this kind of work, because it's not like, it's not really benefiting us except for the fact that we have that job satisfaction at the end of the day going, we really helped somebody, which only matters if you actually care about people. But other than that, it's quite hard work. And it's like really immersing yourself in other people's crap, bad energy, and you're just helping them, so it's like being a nurse. It's like being a parent where you have that unconditional love for your children, where you're willing to clean their diapers, it's not like we like cleaning diapers, but if you don't clean it, it just makes, the person's unhealthy. And that's the same with what we're doing here. Energetically cleaning a person is work. That's why we get paid for it, and it can be hard work. It can be very hard work sometimes because of the crap that's coming off of people, and their anger and their sadness. Even sometimes it's been quite intense to be able to hold your space when somebody's letting go of a lot of sadness as well as anger, or other energies. There's all sorts of weird stuff that people hold on to that's not helping them. Well, we just we're in there. It's like being an aid worker in a earthquake or something where there could be more, earthquakes, or where there's, we're in there with the mess or aid a medic in war. You know, there's still the smell of war. There's still the horribleness of everything going on around you. You're in there, and you got to do it out of love. You got to do it out of care for people, but it's also a profession. So we do get paid for it, but you know, it's definitely, it's not something that you do just because, oh, I enjoy doing it, unless you know, the biggest enjoyment is to help people. If you're a loving, caring person and you enjoy, at the end of the day, I helped somebody. To me, that's the ultimate job satisfaction. But the actual, you know, picking up energy from people and all that, that's not actually enjoyable. That's a sacrifice. Just like when you're cleaning a diaper, if you get the poo on your hands, it's not enjoyable. But when you love the child, you care about them enough to do that, you know. So that's why I use that analogy. And because some people just think it's all so wonderful, but it's not. If you have that idea that it's all going to be wonderful, it's not. It's hard work. Yeah. Hope I don't offend anybody with that, but it's the reality of what we're doing.
Yes,
like being a nurse. If you think being a nurse is all about caring, and you clean your first bedpan, or you know what I mean, it's like, okay, well, this isn't, you know, particularly pleasant, you know. It's done because you care.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. All
Thanks,
right.
Brandon.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's really nice to meet you and connect with everybody. And, you know, love talking and hearing stories. And you know, we'll have another meeting. You're all welcome to come to that as well in a couple days. And then we'll see when our next meeting is after that. But and then I'm off in Canada in June, so I probably won't have one for a little while over that time. But we'll see how we go. All right. Well, lovely to speak to you all.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
see you in July.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.